Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Pehl and I'm going to be presenting on my thesis research, which is titled Perceptions and Adaptations to Bag Limit Sale Prohibition Among Charter Boat Anglers in the South Atlantic. So fisheries management is most effective when it's approached through the triple bottom line of economic, social, and ecological sustainability. There is growing evidence that the recreational fishing sector can harm the biodiversity and ecological resilience of the marine environment, thus placing increased pressure on the need for. This study analyzed the effectiveness of one management technique in the recreational sector, which is the prohibition of bag limit sales, on 3 different fisheries in the South Atlantic from 2005 until 2018. To analyze the effectiveness of this regulation, 3 research questions guided it. First, I aim to determine how stakeholders perceive the prohibition of bag limit sales prior to its implementation in each fishery. To answer this question, written and verbal public comments were analyzed using thematic analysis. Using this methodology and the qualitative analysis software in vivo, themes were developed to describe how stakeholders felt about the regulation. Comments kept for thematic analysis were broken into 2 groups, direct opinions and indirect opinions. 6 themes and 8 sub-themes then arose from these 2 groups. The themes indicated that stakeholders felt the regulation would threaten their existing way of life. It pitted the recreational sector against the commercial sector. It was based on inaccurate data, and there was a belief that the regulation would not benefit the fishery. 96% of stakeholders preferred that no management action be taken toward the issue of bag limit sales, with only 1% agreeing with the Council's decision to make a regulatory change. My second research question, I wanted to determine whether the regulation affected catch quantities of charter vessels, which are a subset of the recreational sector. To analyze whether the regulation had an effect, non-parametric tests were first run to determine whether catch quantities changed before and after regulation. Then, boosted regression trees, or BRT models, were developed in R using the statistical pattern. Models combine catch data with environmental and economic data to determine whether each variable impacted a charter's ability to reach a set bag limit. The non-parametric tests indicated that catch quantities did change in the years after the regulation. However, the BRT model showed that this change in catch was not due to the regulation. Across all 3 species, partial dependence plots, variable importance scores, and decision trees all indicated that the regulation had a negligible impact on catch. Other variables, however, were shown to influence catch, including party size, which is seen on the screen, as well as the state where fishing occurred. The main takeaway from the thematic analysis is that there was an overall negative perception towards the prohibition of bag limit sales in all 3 target species. The overwhelming opposition to a change in management suggests that stakeholders are more likely to share an opinion on a proposed change they disagree with. If this is true, then there's more support for prohibiting bag limit sales than appears in the qualitative data. The main takeaway from the BRT models was that any change in catch is associated with other factors that are not associated with the prohibition of bag limit sales. No single factor appeared important enough to be solely responsible for a change in catch in any of the target species. Furthermore, the exact impacts of each variable are often specific to the species and to the bag limit under analysis. General conclusions indicate that larger parties are less likely to reach the bag limit, and that North Carolina charters are more likely to reach the bag limit than those in Florida, which might indicate that further state-by-state management could be ideal in some locations. When analyzed together, the thematic analysis and the BRT models answer my third question, which asked how the charter sector chose to respond to the regulatory changes in the 3 fisheries. The combined analysis suggests that the sector's response to the change in management was to continue their business as usual, adapting to natural and human impacts unassociated with the regulation. Any regulation, including a prohibition of bag limit sales, is less likely to succeed without stakeholder buy-in. The lack of support by the charter sector could result in ineffective management in the long term. Additional efforts to engage the charter sector in management decisions could alleviate part of this problem. One thing the study could have benefited from was the current perspectives of stakeholders towards the prohibition of bag limit sales. Conducting interviews, surveys, or focus groups with charter captains could provide especially insightful information. While further research must be done before repeal of this regulation could be considered, the study does play a vital role in understanding the perceptions and effects a prohibition of bag limit sales can have on stakeholders and on fisheries in the South Atlantic.